joining us today. There we go, the recording's there now. Thanks for joining us today, guys, for our spotlight session on LLN Robot. To get the most out of the webinar today, you can ask questions at any time via the Q&A chat. We will answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. The other piece of information is to fill out the survey at the end of the webinar. This will just help us provide more of these sessions at a higher quality level. The Spotlight series themselves is your chance to discover tools that complement Wisenet and software that complements Wisenet, and hear directly from our partners that build those tools and software. It will also allow you to see how others are solving real-world education challenges. We're proud to lead the conversation and excited to share the stage. And today we're sharing the stage with TLRG, who are the builders behind LLN Robot and their newer product, Digital Robot. They're the leading LLN assessment platform in Australia and one of only 3 accredited. They've integrated with Wisenet on our assessment submission functionality that we released at the end of last year. Joining us today from TLRG is Elise. Elise is the Client Relations Manager. She's got a background in education, previously being a school teacher, and she joined the TLRG team in 2011. Just before I hand over to Elise, we just wanted to do a quick poll just to see which TLRG assessment products you're currently using, if you are using them at all. We'll just give a minute or two people to. Whilst that's going through, I'll just stop sharing my screen and pass over to Elise.
Thanks very much, Andrew. It's good to have so many of you here today. I'm used to running meetings about these products with maybe 4 or 5 people from a single company, so it's great to be able to talk to so many of you at once today about our products and how we can assist your RTO and work together to address what your needs are and solve the issues that you may be having at this time. So for those of you who aren't familiar with TLRG, company has been around for over 15 years. Initially started, what a few of you using looks like LLN Robot, which is great. We initially started, company initially started in the training and assessment resources area, and that's when I initially joined the team about 14 years ago. And then from there, we've moved into other areas, including LLN Robot, which was launched just over 10 years ago, and Digital Robot, which we launched about 18 months ago. And we also have our new system compliance robot as well, just for your reference. Today, what I'll be doing is just doing a bit of a walkthrough of LLN Robot and then Digital Robot, so you can get an idea of how the systems work, what they're designed to do, and how they may you might be able to incorporate them into your RTO to particularly meet the requirements in the current and the new standards around language literacy and numeracy testing and support. And then the new standards also incorporates the requirement to be looking at learners' digital capability and digital capabilities and supporting them in that area as well. So if you ever want to have a look at our systems too, I just want to flag we do have free 3-week trials of any of our systems. So if you do want to have a more in-depth look at them after this webinar, please feel free to jump on our website and do that. There'll also be some QR codes at the end, which will link through to our LLN Robot and Digital Robot pages so that you can access them directly as well. I will start with LLN Robot today. So this is the system we launched a bit over 10 years ago. Was actually the initial version was launched in 2013, and it started off as just an LLN test for RTOs to get an idea of what someone's LLN level was, and it's grown from there. Today, what you can do in the LLN Robot system is there's a number of different LLN tests available so that you can determine, the system can help you determine a learner's current LLN levels. The system also allows you to do an analysis of units of competency from training st.gov to identify the language literacy and numeracy levels relevant to that unit and therefore a course. And the system allows you then from that to do a comparison of a learner's results to a course result, a course profile, and will then identify where those gaps and support needs for that particular learner are, and then provide some recommendations and resources if there are support areas that have been identified. What you can see on the screen at the moment is the admin side of the system. So this is what an RTO logging into their LLN robot would see. Great thing about all of our systems is that it gets branded to your organization. And it's just for your organization. So anything that comes out of the system, reports, emails, and those sorts of things have your organization's details and logos on it. So any interactions that the learner has with the system looks like it's for your organization, not with us, which just reinforces that it's your RTO doing this, your RTO looking to support learners and find the best ways for them. The screen here is the learner results table. This is where sort of the heart of the system is. And it is where you can see any learner who has been entered into the system or finished a quiz in the system. You can see their results at a glance, and then from there access further reports and details. Within the system, you might notice here that there's a couple of different things that you can see here in regards to the results. This reflects that there are a number of different quizzes available in the system relating to language literacy, numeracy, and all of our LLN quizzes are based and mapped to the Australian Core Skills Framework, the ACSF, which is the accepted and endorsed framework relating to language literacy and numeracy. I'll talk through the quiz types first of all, because we've got a few different options depending on the cohorts you're working with and what information your RTO might like to get as well about the learner's skills levels. The first one I will touch on, and Andrew mentioned at the start, we are one of only 3 organisations or 3 systems that have an approved vet student loans quiz. So if you are working in that area where you're required to use a particular approved pool to assess vet student loans funding suitability, we do include that is included in the LLN Robot system as one of the tests. For this particular test, you can see only reading and writing, numeracy and reading are assessed per the regulations, and it gives a pass-fail result. So I will say that this is probably the least used quiz in the system, just because the vast majority of RTOs aren't working in that very specific area of vet student loans funding. But if you are, we do have that available in the system as well. You can then see that some of these results here have five areas that have got results. These are for our full ACSF quizzes. These ones, our ACSF Level 3 quiz and our ACSF Level 4 quiz, assess the 5 areas of the ACSF, which are referenced up here. There's learning, reading, writing, oral communication. We test the listening component of oral communication, and then numeracy. So if someone is given one of the ACSF full ACSF quizzes, then you'll see results across those 5 areas. We do also include this one. You'll see here there's a couple of areas that are NA because they're not assessed. This is our short course quiz. This quiz is a bit of a shorter quiz. It just looks at 3 areas of the ACSF and was designed for those clients and cohorts and RTOs who train more in those 1 or 2 day courses, maybe things like first aid, maybe a 1 or 2 day forklift course. It was designed as just a little bit of a quicker snapshot, particularly when the old standards came in, the 2015 standards came in. A lot of people who were doing those 1 or 2 day courses were looking for something that they could do a quick test at the start of the day just to see if there was any flags for learners coming in that day, and then quickly identify if there was any support areas. But that is available as an option as well. I'm going to look mostly at our full ACSF Level 3 and ACSF Level 4 quizzes because they are the most commonly used in the system over the just a bit over 10 years that we've had the LLN Robot system available. The ACSF 3 quiz is actually the most commonly used. So I'll look at that one in a little bit more detail. And then if there's questions later on about the other ones, any particular things, I'm happy to touch on them at the end with the questions as well. So the ACSF Level 3 quiz, as I mentioned before, does provide ask questions across the 5 areas of the ACSF. The way that these quizzes work and the naming conventions of those, the ACSF Level 3 quiz only tests up to Level 3, whereas the ACSF Level 4 quiz tests up to Level 4. But all of these quizzes, the Level 3 quiz, the Level 4 quiz, and the short course quiz, both work in a dynamic nature. And how they work is that they will start off with some midpoint Level 2 questions. And based on the learner's responses to those Level 2 questions, the learner will either then be shown harder or easier questions. So if the learner's getting those initial Level 2 questions correct, all or mostly correct, they'll then get taken up to the Level 3 questions, because if they're getting those Level 2 ones all or mostly correct, it probably indicates that they might be sitting at a higher level. So they'll be asked those higher level questions. However, if they're getting all or most those Level 2 questions incorrect, they'll get taken down to the Level 1 questions, because if they're getting most of them, all or most of those Level 2 questions wrong, it probably indicates that they're perhaps got lower level skills or aren't quite fully working at level or exit Level 2. So it'll take them down to Level 1 questions. And then it'll do that process across each of the 5 areas to give you an accurate result for where they're sitting, the person is sitting at for each of those 5 areas. So for example, this entry here, you can see they've got a mixture of levels displayed here as the learner's results. And that's because based on those responses to each of the questions in each of the areas, they're not just a blanket Level 3, they've got a mix of Level 2 and Level 3 skills being displayed. And if so that's the Level 3 quiz. With the Level 4 quiz, it works on the same process, but if the learner gets Level 2 and Level 3 questions all or mostly correct, it will then ask Level 4 questions as well. So that is the main difference between those full ACSF quizzes, is that the Level 3 quiz will stop the Level 3 questions, and the Level 4 quiz can go up to Level 4 questions if the learner's getting those earlier levels correct. So we do get someone saying, oh, the person only got Level 3, but we think they're higher, but they may have only displayed Level 3 because you've only chosen the Level 3 quiz. The main difference is, apart from, the point that the questions will stop the Level 3 or the Level 4, the other main difference between the Level 3 and the Level 4 quizzes are completion times. Just because if they're doing the Level 4 quiz and are just demonstrating high skill levels, they'll see more questions, because they'll see Level 2, Level 3, and then Level 4 questions. So they will potentially need more time to complete the quiz. The average completion times for the Level 3 quizzes is about 10 to 15 minutes, whereas the Level 4 quiz, if someone is at higher level and working through the Level 2, Level 3, and Level 4 questions, then the average completion times are sitting more of the 20 to 30 minutes. So pros and cons to each of those quizzes. With the Level 4 quiz, you can know if someone is working at that slightly higher level, but the drawback is they may need more time to complete the quiz. But with both of those quizzes, really good thing is that someone can enter and exit the quiz at any point and re-enter via a link to the point where they finished off with. So if they're doing this at home and they find that they thought they had enough time but it's taking longer, or they've got distracted with something, they can come back and finish that quiz at a later point as well, which is really handy. We've had great response to that feature in the system. From the results page, just going a little bit further into sort of more details that you can access, the learner information card will give you a bit more details about the learner themselves, if they're invited to do the quiz and when they're invited, and then some couple of completion details. So it will show you which quiz the learner completed, when they completed it, and how long they took to do it. And here you can see the spiky profile, just showing where the learner levels, where they're sitting. There are a couple of reports that are available in the system, and these can be used however you want, and you can get the reports that you need depending on what information you need. There's the learner summary is this basically what you see on screen here. It gives you an overview of the learner, overview of the quiz, and it tells you what level the learner received via their quiz completion. So that's a really good basic overview of where they're sitting, and we find a lot of people save that against a learner record on their systems and get saved into Wisenet. If you're using that integration, that summary will get saved against as well as one of the report types. There is also from the system an answer report, so you can see a breakdown in the answer report of exactly which question the learner was asked, how they answered, so whether they were right or wrong, and also how long they took to answer the question. So that can be really helpful because, for example, if someone was coming out at zeros and ones and maybe you thought that was not where you were expecting them to be, you could have a look at that answer report and see maybe they only took 2 seconds on each question. And that's not enough time. Well, so far it's not enough time for me, at least, who's seen the quiz a lot, to read a question and answer a question appropriately. So it may indicate that they just select anything on screen just so they could finish the quiz. And in those instances, you might want to get them to reset the quiz just to get a more accurate indication of where they're at. So you know, do they actually need those supports or not? So that's a really helpful report. Similarly, you know, if a question or a couple of questions showed that someone was sitting on a question for 30 minutes or something, it may indicate that maybe they were distracted with something else. If they're doing the quiz at home, were they watching TV? Have they gone off to make dinner or, you know, help kids get to bed and that sort of stuff? And maybe they weren't concentrating as much as they would have preferred. But that answer report can just give a little bit more insight to perhaps what was happening for the learner when they were doing the quiz. And you can then take next steps from there, whether that's a conversation with the learner about what their results mean, or perhaps getting them to reset the quiz just so that you can ensure that the results that they've submitted are actually accurate and do really reflect where their skill levels sit. And there is also a profile report, and that will give you a breakdown of whether the learner is an an exit or working level across each of the skills areas. And this is particularly relevant. There are a couple of funding models across the country who need that detailed information. So that's really what the report is aimed to give you for particular funding models as well. So that's a little bit of an overview of the quizzes and how they look in the back end of the system. From there, I'll then just jump over to the course profile. So this is where the system can do an analysis of units of competency on training.gov. Our system has a proprietary process where it will do a trigger word and trigger phrase analysis of the language in a unit, and from that determine what ACSF level, so language literacy and numeracy levels, that unit calls for, and from that it can build a course profile. These course profiles therefore will reflect exactly what your organisation is training from core units and electives. You can make the profile to reflect what you're doing rather than us giving you something based on just core units and those sorts of things. So you can see here there's a couple of different examples of course profiles, and I'll just click into this one here. So this one is just the core units for the Cert 3 in business, and here you can see the breakdown of for each of the units in each of these core units. You can see a breakdown of the ACSF levels for each of this, and you can see here there's a couple of units, for example, that don't call for numeracy skills. So that's marked as a 0 because that specific unit doesn't call for any numeracy skills, and same for this one, doesn't have any learning related skills in it, so that one is marked as 0. It's not uncommon for units to not have every sort of skill in the ACSF covered, so that's so don't be alarmed if you've got the system and a unit is marked as 0. It just means that that particular unit doesn't recall for that particular skill. So once you've built your course profile, once you've added each of the units into your course profile, you can see here, then you've got the overview of the complete course profile based on the specific units that were in that. Where this course profile really comes into play is through the creation of an LLN report. The LLN report in the system is the one that does that comparison and identification for you of where that particular learner may have gaps in their skills in relation to where they're sitting and where the course profile is sitting, and where those areas of support are. And that's really one of the key things in the standards, both the old and the new standards, is it's really about identifying where the learner's currently sitting in relation to the course or the training product that they're looking to be enrolled in, and what specific reports they have in relation to that training product. So the system will identify that for you, and from that you can implement the processes for your RTO about how you have a conversation with the learner if they do have some support areas. You can have the conversation about them of, yes, we've identified you've got some support areas and these are the supports that we can offer you. Or it may be a conversation if the learner is sitting at quite a low point in relation to the course or the training product. It might be at the point of the conversation where you go, we've identified you may have a number of issues undertaking this particular course, if they were looking at a Cert 4 or a diploma or something, and you had that conversation, we suggest maybe you start with a Cert 2 or a Cert 3 and work your way up so that we can help develop your skills in those lower level courses to get you up to that point where you're going to really be able to achieve and complete that diploma or the Cert 4 that they might be looking at. So that LLN report's going to give you that information to know what to discuss with the learner. And the LLN report will also provide some prompts, some training recommendations. So these are some supports that the trainer could implement during training to help support learners. And if it's applicable, we also have some self-paced supplementary training resources, so workbooks for lower skill levels that could be used for the learner to practice skills or used as one of the support tools when you're supporting a learner if they've got those areas where they're needing support as well. So the system not only has the test, not only has that analysis, but also has those suggestions of tools and strategies that you can implement to support the learner as well. So we really have provided each of those stages. So it's not left for you to interpret what a learner's results mean or how it might relate to a course or a training product. The system will do that for you, and then also take that next step and provide those suggestions for how you can support the learner. And of course, we've provided these resources, but it is, as with everything, it's up to your RTO to work out how you want to use these supports and the suggestions, how they fit with your RTO processes, and your staffing as well. But we provide all of those so that you've got options and tools so that you can implement them as you need them and as they fit with your particular RTO and organisation. So that's sort of the main touch points that relate to the learner's results and the quizzes on a day. So they're the main touch points you'd have in that regard. Then the other side of the system is what the learner sees and how the learner gets access to the quiz. Great thing about having the Wisenet integration is that this next step can be managed via Wisenet, so you won't actually need to go into the LLN Robot system to give access to the quiz, a learner access to the quiz. You can actually manage this next step process via Wisenet, but I will show you with it so you know what happens in LLN Robot when that is initiated from Wisenet. So we've got the invite module in the system, and this basically is how an email is sent to the learner so that they can access the quiz. The system requires first name, last name, and email address, and you can also choose to gather other information. But I will say most of our clients who are using an integration, they've got all that, they're gathering all the information that they need via Wisenet. They're not gathering other information here, but it is an option within the system. Basically, you input a learner's details, you select which quiz you want them to do, so the ACSF 4, ACSF 3, the VSL, and then you hit invite, and that will email them. That will email them directly and say, if it was Andrew looking to undertake some training, would say, "Hi Andrew, before you do training with us, we'd like you to do this LLN quiz. Please click the link below." The learner clicks the link, takes them to the start of the nominated LLN quiz that you've chosen for them. They'll complete the quiz, and then the results will come back into LLN Robot and trigger that report going into Wisenet as well, and the results going into Wisenet. The great thing about using the invitation module of the LLN Robot or via Wisenet is that as soon as a learner is invited to do the quiz, they appear in this list. You can see here these couple of entries at the top, and I am listed here a number of times with my email address because it's dummy data, just so it's not real people here. But as soon as someone's invited to do the quiz, either directly from LLN Robot or via the integration, they will appear here as an incomplete, so with no results. The great thing about using this invitation module is that the LLN Robot system can automate some follow-ups for you. So if if Andrew was issued an invitation today to do the quiz, but didn't, looked at the email and then it chose to ignore it or forgot about it, the system in the system settings, you can choose to send automated reminders so that your staff aren't having to manually go in and say, "Oh, has this person done it? Do I need to follow up with them?" The system can do that for you. We've got a couple of different quiz settings here, so you can send incomplete quiz reminders to learners, and you can choose the frequency and how many and quantity of for those reminders. So you can choose to send a reminder every day if you want to keep on top of that, or any from 1 to 7 days you can send reminders, and you can send up to 4. So if you were sending them once every 7 days, that means you've got a month where you've got follow-ups happening automatically from the LLN robot system, to try and get people to complete the quiz if they've perhaps missed it or forgotten about it and didn't come to it. So that's a really good feature for you to ensure that your staff aren't having to manage that process manually. The system will do that for you. So do take advantage of that feature. You can also, the system allows a couple of different notifications to be sent to the RTO as well. One of them relating to this reminder process is that you can notify the RTO, the nominated email address, that this person has received all the reminders we wanted them to receive. They still haven't done the quiz. So that might require a more personal follow-up with that learner to say, we've sent this email and these reminders, but we really need you to do this quiz. So you can choose to have a notification sent to the RTO to remind you of that, which is really handy if you are using that integration. Again, it just means you're not having to jump into the LLN robot to check that, or even to particularly look at the person's record in Wisenet to see if they have finished it there. That will automate some of that process for you. So if you're wanting that functions there as well. There's also other couple of notifications you can receive, the RTO can receive in relation to when a quiz is completed. So you can receive a daily quiz completion. This one will say, in the last 24 hours, these learners have completed the LLN quiz, and that will allow you to jump into their profile in Wisenet and see their results, and then take the next steps based on your RTO's processes about, if their results are this, we do X, Y, and Z, or if, they're this, we do A, B, and C. So that can help trigger that process of follow-up in relation to what supports they might need, or proceeding with the enrolment process. And you can also choose to get an email notification each time a single person completes a quiz. Sometimes this depends on the volume of learners that an RTO deals with. Some of our clients who have smaller yearly numbers like that immediate quiz completion, so they can be really on top of each person that they're enrolling with. But if you're dealing with some larger numbers, we do find that generally people like that daily summary one, so they can see in the last 24 hours, all of these people have done the quiz, and then they know, and it's a little bit easier to manage because they're not getting quite as many emails if they are dealing with larger volumes of learners as well. So those options are available in the system. We do encourage you to take advantage of them. Again, just means you're not having to do as much manual follow-up and checking of results and status for learners. There are also some usual sort of system settings and management tools, managing users. So really good that your RTO can manage who has access to your LLN robot system. We just require that you have at least one person set at the administrator level, so that you can manage, adding users, deactivating users, and all that sort of stuff. It is handy to have two, just in case one of the administrators is on leave, or something like that, or there's changes in company staffing, just so that there is always someone who can access and manage that one. There are 3 different user levels. The base level one, the enrolment officer, really is just to check if someone has completed a quiz and to issue invitations, whereas the LLN specialist, the mid-level user, can also create course profiles and access all of the different reporting types. And then the administrator has access to all parts of the system. Of course, there is an API integrations available in the system, just which is what you'll make use of in with your Wisenet connections. And there's also the option to manage some of the learner data as well. So there's the option to archive results and also to delete records. We do caution about deleting records because you never know if you need something later on. But do take advantage of the archive folders. You can create as many folders as you want, have as many people in the archive as you want, but it does just mean that you can, if someone's in here that you actually want their record, you don't access some of the reports and things, but you've archived them, you can restore them to the results table and get access to all of those details and reports for that learner. And there's also some system analytics, which will just tell you the usage, average results, and those sorts of things. So just a bit of an overview of how the system is being used by learners and staff. So that's an overview of the LLN robot. And so again, LLN robot is designed to look at the Australian Core Skills Framework, determine someone's language literacy and numeracy skills and their supports, um, areas of supports that they may have. And then we've got our digital robot system. So digital robot launched about 18 months ago now, I think it is. And just as LLN Robot is designed to look at language literacy and numeracy skills, Digital Robot is designed to look at digital capabilities and digital skills. So um, the systems have a very similar function and workflow, just looking at those different skill sets. So just as in LLN Robot, I'll be a little bit quick with Digital Robot, but just as with LLN Robot, you've got your results table, which shows the status of anyone who's been invited or has begun the quiz. So this one will show in progress, have completed, or resend invitation means they haven't started it. You've got your invitation model to give access to the quiz, course profiles, created a little bit differently in Digital Robot than in LLN Robot, but has the same function of being able to compare a learner's results to a course. But in Digital Robot, we weren't able to do an analysis of the language in a unit of competency because they don't currently include skills, specific skills related to or language related to digital capabilities. So to create a course profile is a little bit different, but it has the same function. And then you've got your system settings and analytics, just as in LLN Robot. So again, same basic structure as LLN Robot, just looking at a different framework, looking at the Australian Digital Capability Framework and DigComp 2.2 rather than the Australian Core Skills Framework. I'm trying to just keep an eye on. I'm gonna. I think I'll stop there for the moment, Andrew, so that we have time for questions. But just to reiterate, if there's any, if people do want to have a look at these systems, we do have the trials available, and in those trials, you can access the reports. You can have a go at the quizzes. And create course profiles as well. So we do encourage people to have a look at them if they're not currently using the system, which does look like majority of the people here today aren't currently using LLN or Digital Robot. So I do encourage you to do that as well so that you can have a really good look at the learner experience, because I very much focused on the RTO experience today, but the learner experience with the different quiz types available in the system as well. Hand over to you, Andrew.
Perfect. Thanks for that. I'm just going to grab back my screen.
Yep.
There we go. So as Elise was saying, there's the links out to the LLM Robot and Digital Robot web pages. That was a great demonstration there, Elise, of the software, and I learned some stuff there myself around exactly how the questions are dynamic, and that's really cool through that. And we are having talks with you at the moment around that digital robot side of things as well. So that would be good to see that join into the Wisenet integration through there. And using the power of the assessment submissions and filtered lists on top of that in Wisenet to allow the administration staff to manage it all succinctly. So if anyone does have any questions, you can throw them in the Q&A section. I'll just give a few seconds.
While people are busy typing, I will just say to Andrew and good on here today, what I mostly do as well is, as part of my client relations manager role, is have meetings with particular RTOs about how these systems can work for them. So if any of the people here today would like a meeting with maybe some of more of their team and myself, they can also set up a consultation via the website as well. So if they want to discuss any particular things about how it might work specifically in their with their cohorts and in their circumstances, please feel free, anyone, to book a meeting via our website as well.
We've just got a question in here from Karen. She's asking, is it possible to get a copy of this presentation? Oh, yeah. We definitely we will be sharing the recording of this presentation so that you can share it amongst your colleagues as well. Julie, I've used the LLN Robot before as a separate system outside of the student management system. How is it going to be integrated with Wisenet, and can it be integrated together with the digital robot? So the how it integrates with Wisenet at the moment is you would there's a bit of setup that you have to do and connect the app up. But once you've connected the app up and done the initial setup, when you're wanting an LLN assessment to be completed, you just go to your assessment submission or the data submission page in Wisenet, and you request that submission from there. You can choose a particular learner and enrollment, and then you pick which test level you're wanting them to complete, and that pushes all through to LLN. As part of that, it also pushes through the course details as well, which is where Elise was showing if you've got those defaults set up in LLN Robot, it will know what to compare it to for that more in-depth report about how you help your learners through their learning pathway. Digital robot will be something similar, is what we're imagining at the moment. Yeah, so that's that one. Karen, thanks, fantastic. That's perfect through there. Whilst I give a few more a minute or so more just for anyone else to ask any more questions, I do just want to go to my next slide. We do have another webinar coming up on the 19th of June. Ash will be presenting that one, and it's an announcement for a new feature that's going to enhance the learner experience in Wisenet. So it's a pretty exciting one that's getting announced there. So make sure you register either today, or there'll be some emails going out as well for that. We've just had a few more questions pop up. Does it cost additional to our current subscription? The integration itself is free, but LLN Robot do have some pricing on their website around, I think it's per assessment or it's
So yeah, so pricing for LLN Robot and Digital Robot as well for each system starts at $995 per year, and that gives you up to 200 quiz completions over that 12-month period. And then it scales up from there. We've got the budget, so that's our budget package, and then our standard package gives you up to 1,000 quiz completions for $21.50 per year. And then we've got an unlimited package for our higher volume users as well. So we've got those different packages to suit the size of your organization and how many quizzes you're going to be running over that 12-month period.
Yeah. Perfect. Jessica just asked, does the learner need to be enrolled in the course as an applicant first? For the Wisenet integration, yes. You can do it without the integration pathway that Elise showed before. But to take benefit of the automated flow, they would need to be already enrolled. Alex has asked, how long does it take to kind of get set up and going with LLN,
Yep.
Elise?
So from our side of things, it's a fairly streamlined process. We've got, of course, the invoicing and payment, and then we've got a registration form that we get you to fill out online. They're just the details that we use to set up the system. As I mentioned at the start, the system is branded with your logo, your contact details. Once we have that payment and that completed registration form, we allow 1 to 2 business days, but it's usually 1 business day. So if you were to purchase it this morning and get your form filled in, we could have your system up and running tomorrow. And then I do know I did try doing the Wisenet integration myself just because I like to have a rough idea, and I'd never seen Wisenet before. So people here today would know more than I would, but it took me under an hour, and that was with me working through brand new Wisenet system that I'd never seen before. But I was, and then just following the instructions. So we do have full instructions available with LLN Robot on how to set it up and how it works in Wisenet. And just with all of our systems as well, we do have full help articles and documentation about every part of the system, what it is, how it works, and how you make use of it as well. And we do also have live chat support during business hours and phone support during business hours, and of course email at any time as well. So fairly streamlined process. So again, theoretically, if you purchased LLN Robot today, got the registration form, you could be running via the integration tomorrow.
Perfect. That's really good. Lee, I'll answer this one. Lee's just asking, they're already using the integration with Wisenet, and they're just wanting to know if there's going to be any learn cycle capabilities. There will be an automated request capability coming very shortly, Lee, that you'll be able to configure to best suit your needs on that side. So that's kind of the step before even requesting it, so that automating that request side in Wisenet as well, which will be exciting to see. We'll make sure we keep you updated on that one, Lee, when that side of things gets released. And Anonymous, can we see a sample of one of the tests, maybe for you, Elise, there?
Yeah, I am aware of time today, so I might not show it on screen, but I would encourage you to take up a 3-week trial of the system. There's no fees or charges or lock-ins or anything with that trial. So we do actually encourage people to take up a trial and actually give quiz a go yourself, so that particularly if you are taking up the system, you know what the learner experience is. So you get up to 20 quiz completions with the trial. So you and your team, if you need a team of people to look at it, invite yourself to do the quiz via the trial, look at it, see how it works and all that sort of stuff. We really encourage that so that people know what they're getting, and what the learner's experiencing too.
Perfect. All right. How can we get
Yep.
the trial version is the next
Yeah.
question.
So if you just want to go to our website, so tlrg.com.au, and then click on either the LLN and or the digital robot pages, their links are directly there. And then under the pricing on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a thing that says try it free for 3 weeks. Click that and you just fill in your details, and that puts in a request to our team to get a trial set for you. Just note, trials don't transfer to a paid system. So anything you do in a trial, we don't retain as well.
Perfect. Will this same integration be available for digital literacy?
We're working towards that.
Yeah. That's good. All right. Perfect. If no more questions, what we might do is okay, just saying thank you. We might finish up there. Thank you again, Elise, for all your time in showing us LLN Robot and the quick run through of Digital Robot as well. It was great to see. And yeah, the recording's going to be available for everyone afterwards. If you fill out the form after this webinar, you can say if you want us to provide your details to LLN Robots so that they can reach out to you as well, to aid in getting you guys started. Thank you everyone for attending, and we'll be back with you guys in a couple of weeks with Ash presenting. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks,